Hello, welcome to another video. Today I am with Stuart Turner, without his Flat Earth Society, and we're here mainly to talk about this new beautiful record, Implicit Narrative, which is out when?
14th of March.
14th of March. Right, so I mean it's a thing of beauty before you even put it on the record, isn't it? I mean this artwork there is Annie Graves, isn't it?
It is.
It is, and then you've got some similar. Was there some instructions you gave her as to what you wanted out of the front cover? Or?
No. With the front and back covers art, they were more of an opportunistic find
Right.
from the band. Annie does illustrations.
Yeah.
She does art things, and she had started selling prints of her work online. And,
Right.
I saw both front and back illustrations.
Yeah.
On her Facebook art page.
Okay, so it wasn't made for the album. It's just
No, it's a bit of a
happy
coincidence. I felt it kind of, certainly initially the back cover, the skulls, tied in with an imagined narrative existing between the songs.
Right.
That I'd started constructing in my head at the time we were writing the songs and putting the songs together.
So you got
intertwined
roses leading up to
it's
a skull
kind
with
of
a brain inside.
flowers, a central nervous system. I was intrigued by the depiction. Anyway, she's on the album. She sings on the album, and while we were recording, I asked if she would mind if we used some of her art for the cover. She said absolutely not at all. She'd be honoured.
Yeah.
And the artwork was submitted to a friend of the band, Daryl Hartley, who played drums on the first Flat Earth album, and also did the graphic design for that one, and asked if he would put it together as when we had everything together, would he put the artwork together?
Yeah.
And he agreed.
Yeah.
And he took one look at both illustrations from Annie and told us flatly that we were wrong, and I was wrong, and that should be the front cover and the other should be the back cover, and that was all there was to it.
Okay.
And he was quite right.
Yeah.
It's a much bolder image.
Yeah.
And if you're going to gild the lily, what better way than to gild it with lilies, really?
Absolutely. So you then open it up, and there's more delights inside. Again, before you even heard a note of the record, you got some a sort of a mini graphic novel type comic book art work there, and poetry from Barry Fenton
Hall.
And Sarah Jenkin. Yeah.
So the innate illustrations and the poetry sleeve notes came again by the time we'd sort of started to record. Well, by the time most of the music was recorded in one day.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we got to that one day, I'd already assembled an order of what I started to assemble a running order for the songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then the moment I put them into a certain running order, I found myself thinking, oh look, there's a story there.
Right.
I know you interviewed Glenn Pragnell. He likes to think of things cinematically.
Yeah.
I started seeing it as a novel, a plot, if you will.
Yeah.
And I approached Barry and Sarah and Esther Mace, who is the cartoonist who did the graphic novel element of the inside cover.
Yeah.
She's someone I know who does online graphic novels and comic strips. And I gave them all the same brief.
Which you brought with you?
I brought with me because I didn't want to misquote myself. So
that's basically perjury. Not perjury, slander.
Yes, exactly.
Or libel in that case, because it's written down.
It's written down so I wouldn't forget. So this is what I told the three people who did the inner art, was the imagined plot.
Right, okay.
And once you start imagining songs representing a story or a plot, it makes the running order of the songs more instinctive.
Yeah.
And once I had constructed an imagined narrative between the songs, I found myself writing the last song for the album literally to fit the narrative. So the 4-part title track of the album, which was originally supposed to be one long song, but the rest of the band decided it would be much more sensible just to record it in parts rather than become prog.
Okay, right.
Was to tie up, to bring a narrative to where there is no narrative.
Okay, right.
Hence the implicit narrative rather than... see, there you are.
Right.
So, the 4-part number running through the album, working title ITV4, but most likely to be called Explicit Narrative, I was wrong, starts with an estranged couple meeting at the male character's parents' /childhood home while she tries to explain her position. They row, she slaps him, he slaps her back, she falls down, hits her head on the fireplace and dies. He panics, runs to the car, drives down the motorway to the coast, gets on a ferry to France, stands on the deck in the middle of a storm, gets washed overboard and drowns. So far, so folk music. Anyway, in flashback we see that she is a failed actress fallen into obscurity due to booze and drugs in a anti-Hollywood exploitation diatribe paper house. Right. He is a middle-aged man railing against the world and his own unfulfilled ambition. They meet, fall in love, etc., move in together, get married, possibly, not in any song, but it's implied. So distracted by the outside world that their relationship and the physical side of their relationship evaporates, him blaming her blaming him, the song I'm Still Here. And in the meantime, our female protagonist finally realises she's more gay than straight, a bit like Philip Schofield, and is in love with her friend. They abscond together before they waste any more of their lives. He is filled with righteous indignation and threatens suicide at a New Year's Eve party, has an out-of-body experience where he talks himself out of it, and resolves to live with her whatever, as his love is more unconditional than hers, and while they aren't the Sackville Wests, he believes they can make it work and retain the facade of a conventional couple. She feels differently, everyone dies. Anyway,
I need a drink.
You don't need to know any of this. It's largely unimportant and is not expressly...
It's just your brain getting a little bit carried away with it.
It does.
Okay.
So the title Implicit Narrative is a reflection of the fact that with most things in life you can tie things together with a narrative string if you look at it in a certain way. Or you can ignore it completely and enjoy it in its parts. And I think that's very true of this album. You can enjoy it in its parts, or you can construct a slightly ridiculous narrative through the middle of it all, and then ask people to write poetry about it and draw illustrations.
Okay, great.
It's whatever level you want to bring it to. Brilliant. It's up to you.
Right.
I hope that's all clear.
Following that? Good, right. And then you actually get into the record, and it's the yellowest form of yellow ever committed to yellowness.
It's as close to a gold disc as we're probably going to get.
Yeah. So it is a thing of beauty. As I was saying before I switched the camera on, it's just a great unwrapping. Every moment to get in, there's something else to see. Right, we could actually start talking about the contents of the album.
Well, I feel that's always an anti-climax after all that. But carry on.
So I thought I've been listening to it over the last couple of days, and I think without knowing the Hollywood plotline, everyone dies thing.
They don't have to.
No, they don't have to. Okay. It struck me, the last album sounded quite world weary. It was still very, very good, but it did sound very...
There was the
last... When will it all end?
The last two Flat Earth albums were lyrically thematic.
Yeah.
So the eponymous album with the dead tree on the front cover was... All of the lyrics were written in a 2-week period.
Right.
Leading up to my multiple of 10th birthday. And they...
When you were 20?
That's right.
Yeah.
And they all address the concept of aging and obsolescence. The entire album is about is written around the theme of aging and obsolescence.
Okay.
It's not a concept album. It's just that's the underlying theme of every lyric on the album.
Yeah.
Went to record another album, and I noticed that once again all the lyrics were thematic.
Mm-hmm.
The album title Scowl comes from a children's book.
Yeah.
About an owl called Scowl.
Right.
The owl called Scowl is only ever happy when he's being grumpy and scowling and snarling at the world, and it felt like a lot of the songs that were on that album fell into that category, because I'll quite gleefully still sing these very snarling doer songs.
Yeah. I remember
with a smile on my face and a skip in my step. But the again, the lyrics seemed quite thematic. It seemed to be all desperation from my own point. I mean, that was the vibe. Was like side A of that record was all the causes of desperation, and side B was all the ramifications of desperation. And that's, again, I arranged the track listing based on that. It was like causes and effects, and that was an underlying lyrical theme. Although musically it was quite diverse, I hope, and it felt quite complete as a thing. And I'd co-written quite a few of the songs. There was co-writes with both Bob Collins, I think, and there were certainly quite two or three that were co-written with Rob Shepherd, who left the band halfway through making the album. Well, halfway through writing the album, and then came in and recorded his parts anyway. So, whereas the more recent effort, much to the slight annoyance of Bob, was all me, and I think it's the only Flat Earth album where I've sort of written everything on my own. But it's not something I want to do again necessarily certainly not with the Flat Earth Society. Bob Collins, lead guitar, took me slightly to task about it and said we'd all like to contribute. And can the next, if we do another album, there's always another album. Can it be more of a collaborative effort? I think it most certainly will be. Yeah. Because you get too close to things otherwise, and then all you hear is the mistakes.
Right.
Which it's not that. But yeah, there we are. It certainly, the Implicit Narrative album feels like a progression from the last one. But certainly when I was sort of writing songs for it, I was just sort of trying to make it poppier, if that's word. A more upbeat anyway.
It sounds rockier.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. And with that, I felt angrier.
Oh.
So compare that with your upbeat. Upbeat anger.
Well, there we go.
I
mean, the Flat Earth Society albums have always been sonically defined by who's in the band at the time.
Yeah.
And at the time we did the eponymous Stuart Turner and the Flat Earth Society album, I was playing acoustic guitar almost all the time, and Rob Shepherd was in the band. We were writing a lot more acoustically. And then as Rob left, one of the first things I did was buy a new electric guitar, and the whole thing got louder just as a result of that. But then when I started writing on electric guitar, it obviously lends itself to that, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was certainly it wasn't a conscious effort to be more rock or rocking, but it was. I think on several points in the album there was a deliberate attempt to make something.
Because you've got Paper House.
Paper House is that rocks.
That rocks out.
That rocks. That's very difficult to. It was very difficult to mix.
I was thinking
there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot going on, but it's mostly vocals. There's very few overdubs in terms. I don't think there's just two guitars, bass, and drums in terms of the music. It's actually musically quite Spartan, and it was all, as I say, most of the album was recorded in one day.
Yeah.
And I was quite pleased with that. And especially it was a very long day because for one reason or another, none of the boys in the band had really gone to bed the night before. Everyone was very, very tired, and we still did a 10-hour recording session and recorded most of an album.
Right. Wow.
Which there's lots of reasons for it. There were 4 different reasons for it.
So completely coincidentally, they all had a long night the night before.
Exactly. And but it's not that we wanted to record the album originally in Sandgate, down at our friend Mole's studio.
Okay.
Analog 60s.
Yeah.
Live to tape. We're going to do everything live to tape, do all the vocals live to tape, everything. And for whatever reason, we got cancelled. He cancelled on us at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
And being as how arranging recording time for the band, especially there's sort of 6 of us, it becomes quite complicated. There's a lot of the complications of middle age. Arranging time where everyone is available, everyone is free, particularly at weekends, everyone's partners, children, dog, cats, hamsters are all okay with your absence for a day or two. Becomes quite complicated. So with the cancellation of the recording session down in Sandgate, we contacted Jim Riley and said, "You don't happen to be free this weekend?"
Oh, this weekend? It was that immediate?
It was, I think we phoned Jim on Thursday, we recorded it on Saturday.
Wow.
He wasn't available on the Sunday, so we tried to do the whole thing in one day, where we were trying to do it in 2 days down in Sandgate. And that gave it a certain immediacy that possibly wasn't on the last album.
Right.
But it meant that we left some of the mistakes in there because it was in the ethos of recording live. In the original thought process was to record it as live as possible.
Yeah.
So we left things in as live as possible. And then mixing Paper House took longer than recording all the songs on the rest of the album.
Right.
Because we mixed it once and it was, Mike didn't like a sound. There was a cymbal thing. There was a sound on the introduction, which when we were mixing it, Mike couldn't be there for the mixing, and there was an accidental noise at the beginning.
Right.
Which at the time of the first mix, myself and Nick, who was there, said, "Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, leave that in. That's great."
Okay.
And Mike couldn't stand it, and it's his instrument, and that's totally fair enough. Really, he can't go around. He's got to live with that. So we ended up said, "Oh, Jim, we want to remix that one." So we mixed it again, and because, as I say, there's lots of vocals on it. I think I sing on it, Rachel Lowry sings on it, Annie Graves sings on it, Bob Collins sings on it, Mike Sewell sings on it. And everyone's
singing on it.
Singing, and it's getting the relative levels
was
very difficult. And on the second mix, Bob's guitar was too loud and you couldn't hear all the vocals. So then we had to go back in again and go again, Jim. We'll go again, Jim.
Yeah.
And it's the third mix which is on the album.
Wow.
But because it was so difficult to get the levels. Of the relative voices correct, or where we thought they should be. That each of those mixes took hours and hours and hours, and a lot of the other songs on the album were done very, very quickly.
Okay. Yeah, because I think the result on that particular track is really good.
There's going to be a video.
Phenomenal.
There's a video that's been in production for some time.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil any surprises, but hopefully, fingers crossed, next week was the deadline.
Right.
It's a stop motion animation video.
Okay.
And
Are we allowed to know who's done that?
oh no, top secret.
Top secret.
Top secret.
Okay.
No, it's Blue Dinosaur Animation,
Mhm.
based down at some pier, have been doing this stop motion animation film noir.
Okay. So that
for-
fits
for-
in with the
for-
Baby Jane.
for a while.
Okay. Well, I imagine
we-
you would be with Stop Frame.
we were. Don't worry, we'll have the video for you by the end of October. But the problem with any self-imposed deadline is that you're the only one imposing the deadline. You can
Okay.
tear through your own deadline.
Yes.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
we can wait.
That's good. That's good.
But, yes, 14th of February is the latest deadline, but it's still in time for the album.
Right. That's good.
We await the video.
Okay.
I think it'll be worth waiting for.
Yeah. Have you seen a preview of it?
I've seen little tiny bits that have been done, sort of rolling along. So
that's
and there was a lot of storyboarding, and it's all it's quite remarkably in depth. Again, like the.
So did they have that to refer to?
No.
Or no.
No. This is just the reference exclusively to the song. It's a standalone thing.
Okay.
The Paper House was a 1980s horror film.
Right.
Starring a young lady called Charlotte Burke, who I was at university with.
Mhm.
But when she was a child actor, she was in this film, which was quite a big deal at the time.
Mhm.
And it had, is it Ben Cross from Chariots of Fire in it? Anyway,
Right.
the not Scottish one from Chariots of Fire.
Abrahams, the Jewish runner.
Yeah,
Okay. Versus Eric Liddell.
that's him.
Mm.
Anyway, him, not the runner, the actor,
Yeah.
was in this horror film about a paper house, and I was reading around. I'd watched this biographical drama series about the relationship between Bette Davis and Joan Crawford,
Okay.
and I was reading more about that, and I was intrigued by the whole Hollywood studio system.
Yeah.
And about Charlotte's experience of film and within her own sort of limited way, and of a reasonably high budget British horror movie from the late 80s.
Okay.
And the idea of a paper house is a paper facade, like a film set, and the whole thing being an illusion, and what's behind the thing. It became, in my head, if nowhere else, it became a metaphor for the whole shady business.
Right.
And it's all illusions and bad people, and
Okay.
all your whatever happened to all the hopes and dreams and aspirations of youth.
Right.
Okay. It's a happy song.
It's a happy song. Well, as we've deduced, it's a happy album.
It's a happy album. Everyone dies.
Everyone dies.
But it's got lilies and rib cages on the front cover. It's not
Yeah, and yet I think the word you used was upbeat a few minutes ago.
I do feel musically it's one of the most upbeat things we've released.
Let's have a look at the other tracks on it.
Come and see the contradictions inherent in the system.
You Really Don't Care, Do You? Versus I'm Still Here. They've got there's this caring thing,
Mm-hmm.
and You Really Don't Care, Do You? has a A very...
You really don't care, do you?
Theresa May reference.
It has... Really don't care. Mrs. Trump visited one of Mr. Trump's detainment camps on the Mexican border wearing a parka with "I don't care, do you?" written on the back of it.
Right.
Which turned out to be an Italian fascist slogan, which is nice.
Oh, it's multi-leveled.
So
many layers to that.
You really don't care, do you? Is about Donald Trump quite explicitly.
Right.
It does reference Theresa May, and British politics seem to be moving at such a speed that my satirical song is already outdated before the album's released.
I don't care for bread and circuses, so go ahead, wave your little hands around. I don't want you coming near my town. I would rather see you lose your crown.
I am waiting for the Boris Johnson song to appear.
Well, let's give it time.
Give it time, because you have done a David Cameron one.
I did a David Cameron song.
Yeah.
You've
done Strong and Stable in You Really Don't Care.
That was an explicit reference, and unfortunately, it's already too late.
It's already too late. And then
Think of it as a concept album set in 2018.
So, You Really Don't Care, Do You? I Wish I Could Feel the Same. And then in I'm Still Here, you've got You Don't Care About Me.
Well, there we are.
Nobody cares about anything.
No one cares about anything. That's a relationship song, but
Right.
The reason it became a duet, it wasn't written expressly as a duet to start with, but we've been playing it live for a while, and I've just very much enjoyed doing it. But the more I thought about the lyric, it felt like if you have the single voice singing the entire lyric, it's an unanswered accusation.
Right.
So you have the voice in the verses saying, why go home? I've got nothing to go home to. You don't love me. I'm not going to go home. I'm going to stay out as long as possible. I don't really understand why I'm avoiding home, but I'm avoiding home because I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but if you have it as a duet and you have the answering voice saying, "I'm still here. I'm waiting for you. It's all in your head."
Yeah.
It feels more balanced lyrically.
Right.
And it feels more balanced sociologically.
Okay. Mm.
So that it's not so much of a woman done him wrong kind of thing. It's more but at the same time isn't a man you're an idiot song either.
Okay, there's something deep to go on.
There's balance, but just get it together. Stop letting your wires cross.
Yeah.
Your loss of luster's got me out in the rain with no treasure map to your libido's remains, and no desire is not a crime, but if it was, well, we both done time.
I'm still here. I'm still here. You don't care what happens to me now. You don't care what happens to me now.
I think about these things too, more than that is strictly necessary, and more than people will credit it with, I guess.
But they both end up dead anyway. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And in fact, by that point in the album's proceedings, she's already dead because the whole of this is in flashback.
Okay.
As we've already established.
As we've already established.
Or not, depending on how much you want to bring to the whole listening process.
Yeah. And I was listening to the album just before you got here. I'll just put the Jazz Odyssey track, which
Jazz
I think
Odyssey.
means, which I think is Life Choices.
Life choices.
Yeah. I don't
Yes.
know what is that right?
It is jazz. It's jazz.
Yeah.
It starts off as jazz and then it goes into kind of psychedelic.
It kind of goes into a sort of experimental.
It's jazz into
Yeah.
psychedelia.
Mm.
It feels like like a lot of my songs, I don't know where I start off in one vein and I think, oh, this should go somewhere.
Yeah.
And quite often the place I take it to has no relation to where it started.
Mm.
And that was very much one of them. I had this it's jazz, groove thing for a verse for a song. I had a melody, I had the whole lyric constructed.
Yeah.
I had no chorus. And then when I had the lyrical bit of the chorus and the melody of the chorus, the music that came out with that was completely at odds with the jazz.
Yeah.
But I quite like that.
Yeah.
And it's and then it has this very abstract kind of hardcore punk middle eight, and almost none of our songs have middle eights. I don't think I write very good middle eights. And I often feel the ones I do write are often very unnecessary. But this was the song Helen on the last album.
Yeah.
Had a middle eight, and that proved so popular with the rest of the band that it got taken out of the middle and stuck on the end and extended it ad infinitum as a big long play out.
Yeah.
This time the middle eight stayed in the middle.
Okay.
But is quite at odds with the rest of the song again. But it was great fun to do, but it took a long time to get right because it was very exacting, particularly on mic.
Yeah.
The drum part's it goes through a lot of moods.
Okay.
The many moods of Mike Sewell.
The lyric that stuck out for me was "Cheek by jowl, we're defined by money and absence."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a doozy, isn't it?
Yeah. Care to elaborate?
The song is about a thing that happened to me a long time ago, and I don't know, for whatever reason I was thinking about it later on. A friend of mine was talking about suicide, which I think if you're thinking about suicide you should definitely be talking about it rather than just not. Yes, yeah. Quite. Because I don't think it's a very good idea, but the only way to avoid it, I think, is to talk about it. And in this particular instance, my friend was talking to me at some length about not wanting to carry on living, and we talked, and he didn't, and he's still alive, and that's all fine and dandy, and he's in a much better place now, and etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
Point is, I wrote a song about it, what it is, but the cheek by jowl thing was, at the time he was living in London, still is living in London, was surrounded by people of significantly larger incomes and socioeconomic conditions than himself.
Yeah.
There's at the same time he was surrounded by people who are in more demonstratively happy relationships.
Okay.
And he was not in any relationship of a romantic nature.
Yeah.
So there's the idea that he's surrounded by money and smugness.
Yeah.
And that's the lyric. That's what that lyric is about. Is we define each other by money and
yeah.
they're
Comparing yourself to
exactly.
other people,
which is a nonsense. Which is what I'm trying to say. The chorus, the verses are him. The choruses are me in this conversation. The chorus line being, "These are my life choices. Most things haven't worked out. It's all right."
Okay. Yeah.
but that's all right.
Yeah.
It's happy, isn't it?
It's
But it is, you see,
Yeah.
that's the point.
yeah. A lot of these songs, I thought I've heard a lot of these songs. You've been playing them a lot live, haven't you?
We
For
have.
quite a while.
That's because we are very lazy. And if we're rehearsing songs,
Might as well just rehearse them in full view of everyone else.
if we're going to rehearse songs to record them, we'll rehearse songs to record them. Oh, we've got a gig. What songs have we rehearsed? We've only rehearsed these ones. We don't want to.
The album.
That's what we're doing live.
Okay. So inside the Transport Museum, for example,
We've been playing that one a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But does that date back to Scowl? It's quite.
I'm not sure if we might have played that at the Scowl album launch. That's
Yeah.
the oldest or second oldest song
Yeah.
in terms of chronology. It's I think most album launches. This will be the 6th band album, and I think there is a precedent of us playing a song from the next album at each album launch.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that. I have to consult my records or Bob, which is
Bob is your record.
Bob is
The walking archive.
he's astonishing. His memory is he's the reason why Bob never feels he has to rehearse, because he just remembers everything. The rest of us can't remember what we had for breakfast, but Bob can remember the guitar riff from a song we haven't played in 5 years. Anyway, that's by the by.
Yeah.
Inside the Transport Museum is quite specifically about Patrick Mahaffey, my son, who is obsessed with various forms of transport.
As he should be.
And I wrote a song for him because he sulked. On the last album, there was an outtake song that appeared later on an EP called Elsie, which is about his sister.
Okay.
So he wanted a song about him.
Okay.
I didn't like to say that there already was a song about him. I just went on and wrote him another.
Okay.
So
now Elsie needs a second song.
obviously,
Yeah.
I dare say
Get on with it.
I dare say she'll get one before too long. That's the way of these things. But I quite often songs about songwriters' children are horrible because they're often very cloying and very because you're emotionally involved with
Yeah.
the subject in a way that's different from romantic involvement or personal involvement.
Yeah.
And I was trying to, in all of these songs, I've tried to avoid that, so they're less obviously about that material, for fear it becomes,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, there's the one that's screaming in my mind at the moment is that song Will Smith sung about his son, but that's probably a bad example.
I was thinking Liam Gallagher, Baby James.
Yeah.
And didn't Richard Ashcroft do a bit of a dodgy...
Yeah, there's Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton, but that's a different thing.
That's more down your neck of the woods, isn't it?
Thanks.
That's a sort of song.
Everybody dies.
Everybody dies.
But it's it was an attempt to write a kind of more universally applicable song that has specific meaning for myself and for the boy, but needn't necessarily be taken as such by anybody else.
Yeah. Okay.
So and it was very timeline-wise, it was written after the time he disappeared in Bovington Tank Museum. Was gone for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
All of the museum staff were running around on walkie-talkies trying to find him.
Was he actually having the time of his life?
That's fine. He was in a building, 2 buildings across,
Wow.
playing in a play area that he'd seen out the corner of his eye on his way into the museum.
Okay.
He wandered out on his own, just run off.
Okay.
He has a tendency to run off. he once ran off at the turning on of Rochester Christmas lights and had the police out looking for him.
So he's got a form then.
Oh yeah, he was eventually found by 2 police constables inside Cancer Research UK trying to negotiate the purchase of a toy car without any money. So anyway,
right.
it was rather frantic.
And there's always bandits at 12 o'clock, and chutes don't open if they get too old. But you give me hope for the future, one that can last more than a lifetime. Planes, boats and trains without any regret.
You were saying earlier on about getting a gentle smack on the wrists from Bob about the you doing all
The lack of
songwriting.
collaborative
Yeah.
writing.
But in terms of everything else apart from the writing, which I guess is quite a significant part of the thing, that it feels like there is a lot of collaboration in there. It feels like
Oh yeah. I mean,
each person's
it's
stuff
what you-
is coming to the fore a lot.
Exactly, and I don't. The thing is that it's you say I've got this song, and it goes like this, and it ends up sounding like it's absolutely never anything like you.
Yeah.
Well, in our no, maybe it
Yeah.
is for other people, but certainly in terms of the Flat Earth Society's recording process, it's
Yeah.
I'll have an idea, I'll put it to everybody, I'll say it goes a bit like this, and they'll say no, it doesn't, it goes like this. And then you rely on Nick and Bob to tell me what the chords I've invented are. That sounds nice, and Nick will go, oh, that's a C. Yeah, I exaggerate, but slightly.
Yeah.
And it's together, you put it together, and the tempos shift. And I think this album, possibly more than others, it stayed closer to what I originally proposed. But I mean, the title track, which is in 4 parts, which is ridiculous, but my idea would have been more ridiculous. Where it's one long song that changes time signature every time you go through a middle, every time it goes through a bridge section that sounds like the James Bond theme.
Okay.
Everyone rejected the James Bond theme middle
Really?
bridge sections because it was fiddly and annoying. And then why don't we just do the song 4 times in 4 different time signatures?
Okay. Yeah.
Which is the 4 moods of the story.
Because I think I remember talking to you before about your appreciation of, isn't the Milltown Brothers?
I love the Milltown Brothers.
Yeah. I remember them from doing the theme tune to Preston Front. Do you remember that TV show?
I know the name.
Yeah. Here I Stand.
Oh yeah, that's Here I Stand by the
Yeah.
Milltown Brothers.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, I know that
You
from their
recognised it
album.
immediately. Yeah. Because there was something of them that came across in
Kisses Are Key.
Kisses Are Keys. Yeah.
Kisses Are Key. I always see that. That's interesting. I don't know. I always saw that more of as a kind of being more overtly influenced by the Lemonheads.
Okay.
But
Same era, I suppose.
yeah,
Ish.
yeah.
Just across the pond.
Lemonhead's still going.
Yeah.
Milltown Brothers did a reunion thing a while back. I don't know whether that's still going concerningly. But no, it was. I saw it, as a kind of it's an overtly it's a pop song, and that's very upbeat.
It is.
Yes, it's a love song. And it's
Yeah.
happy and it's upbeat, and I don't sing on it, which is probably why it sounds happy.
I know that I lived most of my life in a cage. It started a birth and it closed me as I came of age. I know I can only talk when I'm free. It seems apparent that you want to talk to me.
But yeah, it's very much electric guitar riffs backed with acoustic guitars,
Yeah.
very much like Come On Feel the Lemonheads, or
Yeah.
to a slightly lesser extent, Shame About Ray, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So a gloomy, uplifting,
Exactly.
depressing.
Yes, all of those things, all things to all people.
All things to all people.
Available on the 14th of March from the album launch.
Yes, the album launch. So we need to talk about the album launch. Where is it? When is it? Why is it? How is it? What?
The album launch will be at the downstairs lower function room of Rochester Royal Function Rooms,
Okay.
popularly known as the Billabong Club. I'm not sure if that's... I'm never sure if that's its real name or whether that's just the name of the comedy club that
Just what we call
happens
it.
there.
Yeah,
Anyway, the Billabong Bar.
the Billabong.
In Rochester, and it will be on the
Meters
14th.
away from where it was recorded.
Yes, very much so. Within eye line of
Yeah.
the recording studio. It will be on the 14th, Saturday the 14th of March 2020.
Right.
It is £7 to get in on the door,
Okay.
but I would advise anyone who's thinking of coming to come early, please, because we've got a lot of people lined up.
Okay. So there's.
We did an album launch for the album, the Phrenology album. We had an album called The Art and Science of Phrenology.
That was at St George
Yes,
Ballroom, wasn't it?
yes, we did it at St George Hotel Ballroom, the Stanley Ballroom, and we did a thing with 2 stages, and we're attempting to do that again
Okay.
in a slightly more, smaller room, but we have a singer-songwriter stage, which we intend to set up quite near the bar
Right.
for between the main stage acts.
Okay.
So we have Jack Cade setting up, who will be opening proceedings really quite early on. So it would be very nice if you came and saw him, dear viewer.
Come and see Jack Cade.
And then there will be more Cockney Knees Up material from Barker and Hartley, featuring Darryl Hartley dropping his H's, who did the graphic design for the album cover.
Right.
And John Barker, of many
This parish.
of this parish and many Medway bands.
Yeah.
Then there will be Stephen Webster, who is a more recent acquaintance of myself, but has known Bob for many years, and he has started concentrating his musical efforts into covers or standards, blues standards, and
Right.
the Flat Earth Society did originate as a blues band of sorts, and I've always got an ear out for that sort of thing, so I thought it would be lovely to give him the opportunity to come and play some songs at this thing, and give everyone the opportunity to hear it, and me, mostly me, to be honest. Then on the main stage we have label mates and just mates Theatre Royal.
Okay.
6 music favourites and XFM regulars and
Yeah.
etc., and which is very nice of them to come and play.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And then on the singer-songwriter stage we have Simon Bunyan of These Guilty Men,
Yeah.
who are a very, very good band, very underrated. And
Yeah.
I'm in them as well. But no, Simon's one of my favourite male singers in the Medway area, and it would be criminal for him not to be involved in some way. But at the same time, I didn't want to do 2 gigs.
Right.
So
it's a solo.
solo performance from Simon, and then us. But as part of our set, we have Barry Fenton Hall and Sarah Jenkins coming to read out their poems from the sleeve notes during our performance.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's decided exactly at what point yet, but maybe they can just shout over a guitar solo. That's a silly idea. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
However, these decisions will be made closer to the time, and it will obviously be spectacular, and all of the arts at once.
Yeah.
Why just do music when you can do multimedia?
Absolutely. It's I don't know, maybe it's because I was speaking to Glenn last week, and talking about this collaboration thing. There's a huge amount of collaboration about the world of Stuart Turner and the Flat Earth Society.
It's a collaborative experience.
The artists on board, sort of widening
It's the thing,
number of musicians and singers in the band.
The thing with the band name always makes me feel slightly guilty, because it is very much a band. It certainly feels like a band when we're all playing. And I always feel it's not just my band, if you see what I mean.
Because I remember you telling me once that there was a stage when it felt like a revolving door of, especially drummers coming and going.
Well, this is it. This is the breaking of a curse.
Yeah.
Mike is now the only drummer to play with the Flat Earth Society to have recorded 2 albums.
It's only 2 albums. It feels like more.
Well, he played the album launch for the album before that.
Okay, but he wasn't actually playing.
But he wasn't playing on the album.
Okay, no, it feels
So,
like, well, I suppose in terms of years, it's quite a long time, isn't it?
We're very old now. Apart from Mike and Annie, who are still very young, and Rachel's still a lot younger than most of us. So really, it's just me. I'm just very old. And I should shut up.
But it's because the Groovy Uncle thing is just always attracts lots of people to get involved with it, and this what you've done here, not just musically but poetically, artistically, design-wise.
I like to invite people I like to be involved in things I'm doing, and then I always feel quite tickled that they're prepared to join in.
It's good. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I it's a strange thing. So Esther, who did the comic book art of the inside cover, I gave her a couple of copies of the album, and she said, "Oh, thanks. Do you want some money?"
Yeah.
And I said, "No, don't be ridiculous. Of course I don't want any money. You've done this."
Yeah.
And I think, I would like everyone to feel like they're as much a part of it as anybody else.
Yeah.
Because it is a collaborative thing, making a record anyway.
Yeah.
But certainly a physical artifact.
Yeah.
Involves a lot more people than a download or a streaming thing. Or, because of the sheer physicality of it all.
Yeah.
So, anyway, there we are.
Right. Question I ask everyone whenever I stick a camera in front of them. Local music. What's tickling your fancy at the moment?
Oh, crikey. I don't know. I see the Theatre Royal have got their new album coming out, and what I've heard of that is good.
Yeah.
I tell you what, These Guilty Men have got an album. We finished that.
Okay.
It's only taken 2 years. It's good. It's worth hearing. It's worth waiting for.
Right.
So that'll be coming out later this year.
Is that your first album with them?
It's their first album. They haven't done an album.
They did.
They recorded a lot of things. They released an EP.
Yeah.
The rest of the recordings are in a vault.
Okay.
But
Right.
So that's coming.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Okay.
I could just talk about all the people I do stuff with. Everyone's doing various things on their,
Yeah.
But no, there are things. There are other things. I'm very intrigued by. Really, there's a kind of I've been intrigued by recordings of Dead Blood Cells, which that's not cheery. They're a local goth combo.
Dead Blood Cells.
Yeah.
I have not heard of Dead Blood Cells. Tell me more about Dead Blood Cells.
Dead Blood Cells are Tamara, who is romantically linked to James, who runs the rehearsal room that we, Flat Earth Society, use whenever we are rehearsing and try to anyway. He plays guitar in it as well. It's kind of very 80s synth goth thing with guitars. It's intriguing.
Right.
Yeah.
I will look out for them.
there you go. There's a thing.
That's a thing.
I did very much like The Word, who are a completely different thing, a very upbeat, poppy, Beatles-based pop stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're no more. They don't exist. So that didn't last long.
Oh.
No, they were very good. They were nice. They've all gone on. They released an EP recently of the stuff they didn't record previously, and it seems to that's gone on to Spotify and stuff. But yeah, it's quite fun. The bass player is now doing stuff with Jason's Crybaby special. Jason.
Okay.
And that's decent.
Yeah.
I've heard of it so far. What else? Oh, there's a band from Raynham who called the Love Reptiles, who I like.
Yeah.
They are very young, and they're kind of
Disgustingly young. Right?
Disgustingly young. Yes. But it's interesting. What they're doing is interesting, I think, and it's getting better each time I see them. But it's intriguing seeing people who are that young, enthused by music that I would have thought was. This sounds really patronising. It's not. I wouldn't have thought they'd have heard. If you see what I mean. Very kind of krautrock influenced, and it reminded me of early Ride when I first saw them. But not when I first saw them, not as good. Anyway, near as good. But each time I've seen them, they've got better, and but with that same kind of focus, and I like it. It's interesting to see how that will go for them. And I asked them to come and put on a gig at the Billabong.
Yeah.
Asked them to come and play, and they were just delightful. And they brought all these young people out to this gig, and I know they subsequently played their own gig there, and that went very well for them. But it's it was just really nice that in an age of home recordings and all the rest of it, and the kids still the youth,
oh bless them,
still want to come out and put on a rock and roll show, and
that's good.
And and they were just really nice. The ones that came out to the gig, and they were just really into the music, and that was great.
Great.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So that's the Love Reptiles and the Dead Blood Cells.
Yeah, there you go. There's some tips for you.
Retrospectively, you can listen to The Word.
Yeah, retrospectively.
It must be something to do with the name, like the magazine folded, and now a band with that name folded. There was on the TV show.
I believe so, and I don't know. Anyway, there we are. I quite like them.
Great.
There we are. But yes, obviously check out all the bands I'm associated with, and obviously all the bands associated with the people in the bands I'm associated with. So
it's quite a sprawling.
It's a big mess.
Yeah.
Rock Family Trees.
Yeah.
I understand because Nick and Bob from the Flat Earth Society are both involved with Treasures of Mexico. They have a new single in the offing, which sounds very promising. Ask me.
Right.
And I should talk about that really. Given the opportunity, it's good. You should all listen to that when it happens, which it will.
Great. So there's a lot going on.
Always.
There always is.
Yeah.
Great. Well, great to catch up with you. Make sure you get your mitts on this. Is it coming out in vinyl and download?
Vinyl and download. Vinyl will be sadly the only physical format.
Okay.
I was asked about CDs.
But it is nice in yellow.
It is in yellow.
It is gorgeously yellow.
If you buy the vinyl, you will get the download. It will be available to stream on all your regular streaming whatnots.
But buy the album.
Because
you can actually get some money out of that.
Yeah. Well, I think if we had 4 billion Spotify hits,
be fair to Spotify. If 4 billion people listen to it, then
I'll get 50 quid each.
50 quid, yeah.
Probably, possibly.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been a pleasure chatting to you as always.
And you,
I will no doubt point a camera at you next time you're on the launch of the next album,
Well,
which will be inevitably sometime soon.
obviously,
Yeah, obviously.
cracking on.
Get on with it. Yeah.
Well, I've written 6 things, and I'm in the finishing some things that Bob started. And
Okay.
it's come
So
on.
it could well, yeah, great. Brilliant. Well, thanks for that. I'll catch up with you again soon.
All right.
And I'll see you again sometime soon to talk to somebody else about something else. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.